Well, we're ready to begin, and the script kind of goes for guys I know going on. We usually have an opening prayer, the pastor does. I have a little bit of a review I do with a PowerPoint, and then I'll just turn it over to you. And really looking forward to that. So, Pastor, if you can begin with prayer.
Sure. The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
Good and gracious God, we thank you for today, for the beautiful, marvelous sunshine and the hints of spring that surround us. We thank you for this group as we gather together to listen and to learn more about our siblings. We ask that you give us ears to hear and open hearts to receive the knowledge that will be presented here today. We love you and we pray all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Well, here's my screen, which will be, you won't have to listen to me very much today to do it too. Come on, okay, I need to get to the, let's see. I can't get rid of that little thing on the top, so I'll just do it this way. We are doing this Reflections in Relationship with our Native American Siblings, and this is session number 5, and we have 7 sessions and do the review. What we've done so far, this is for Guy mostly to do it too, is we have looked extensively at the history of what has happened with the doctrine of discovery and how that kind of drove the interactions between the Europeans and the Native Americans, and how that still is kind of embedded in our culture today. Because it kind of transferred over from doctrine of discovery to manifest destiny, and that's part of our history. So you have to kind of look back at that. And we are on April 3rd, so we're looking at the stories of the settlements of Wisconsin and Wapaka, Menominee through today, and very interested in that Trinity actually sits on land that's Menominee land. And to talk a little bit about that and find out that history. So I'm fascinated to do that. So here is, I think I got a shot of the Menominee River, which I think Guy will talk a lot about, because more and more I read about him, this is such a passion, with him to do so. And the last part is there he is. There's his introduction. Most people can read for themselves, so I won't read it for you, but the more and more that I see about Guy, about what he has done and what he's doing and what he intends to do is very amazing. He just came back, I heard, from Phoenix, and we had some common things that we talked about there with the Navajo, in terms of that. So he's a lecturer. He has done a lot of different events to do that too. He's written. He's got a newsletter. He's got an activist organization I hope that he'll talk about. So with that, I'll just kind of turn it over to you. So there you go. You have to unmute yourself, Guy, and then go for it.
Yeah. Hey, Poso. So I'm going to try to share my screen. I want to show a PowerPoint. The first thing I want to let you guys know is that we have vast history. Living here in Wisconsin. We've been here for a very long time, so I'm going to try to put as much history into this presentation as possible. But it would probably take us about 3 days to kind of go through the true history of our people. So I'm going to see if I can. Let me see if you can see this. Can you see that?
I can.
Do you see just the PowerPoint, or do you see the you guys selves too? You see me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, Poso, waiwana nitske spian, mauni wea keo saitua, aonakwet nita kam wapasha nitotem, kashitna nitski wakian. Waiwana mauni wea keo sa aitua nakato manowich mokaman Newitnison Manowachswanamana. So I just introduced myself in our beautiful Menominee language. Our language was given to us out of love and support for us as a people, from our Creator. So we definitely want to always try to utilize that language when we speak. So basically what my introduction was who I am, what my name is Onaquit. The translation of that name, people have told me, means handsome and good looking and brilliant, amazing. Well, at least that's what I think anyway. But it actually means cloudy skies is what my name refers to. And I also introduced my clan and just where I am. My clan is the Martin clan. And where I am located here on the Menominee Indian Reservation. Everybody see that one?
Yep.
So this is a little bit bigger of a picture of what Hugh shared before with that beautiful Menominee River. This is the mouth of that river. That's Lake Michigan in the background there. The reason why I bring this up is a couple different reasons why. First of all, I want everybody to realize that, the Menominee tribe are the oldest living residents here in Wisconsin. We've been here a lot longer than everyone else. We have no migration story as other tribes do. Our story starts right here in this picture. We are Algonquin speaking people. We're from the Algonquin family. There's quite a few tribes that share similar dialects to ours. The Ojibwe people, Potawatomi, Cree. There's a whole host of them anyway that share similar dialects. And what I mean by that is in Ojibwe, my name would be Onaquid. And in our language, in Menominee, it would be Onaquit. So there's definitely T's and D's difference. But if in Ojibwe you were to say if you wanted the word for a lake, it is Zagayagun. Zagayagun is the lake. In our language, it's Nepesa. So they're similar, but yet very, very different and distinct. So our tribe, inhabited about 10 million acres here originally in our homelands, which was basically central, mid-east, and upper Michigan. We even went as far up in the upper Michigan as possible, or as up to the Big Bay Denok area, was our original homeland. So we had a vast territory, and I'll show you that later in the different slides. But this particular one is where our actual people began. The tribe is said that original bear, that first Menominee, came out of the earth right here at this mouth of this Menominee River. When that bear came out of the river, they say that it traveled up that river, up the Menominee River. Of course, it looked a lot different than it is today. In our language, we call that not the Menominee River, but we call it the Minikani Sepe, is how you would say that in our language. So that as the bear came out of the earth, I forgot to mention it was granted into a person by the Creator, and it started to walk up the mouth of the river, looking for other relatives, and it soon had seen a beautiful eagle flying high up in the sky, and the bear called down to that eagle and asked if it would be a brother to him, and the eagle accepted that, and so did the Creator, and the Creator turned that eagle into a man as well, and then there were two of them. And as they were walking on the banks of the river, they noticed the sturgeon. In our language, they call that namau. That name roughly translates to I don't know. I would say like a prehistoric fish. It basically is describing that like it's the first fish. That's kind of what it describes. So the bear actually adopted that sturgeon as a member of its clan. And as they kept going forward, they seen this brown figure floating and swimming in the water. And once they recognized it, they seen that it was a beaver. And the beaver also wanted to be a part of the tribe or part of those folks. And it came to the bank and asked if it could. And they said it could, but it being a female, it was turned into the very first woman as the first Menominee woman. As they walked up that river together, they also came across the crane. In our language, they call it otachia. Otachia roughly translates to the one with the red head, if you can, understand that. You can see that figurine, the red head. That's what it's describing. And then we also came to a waterfall, they say, and in that waterfall, a wolf came out of there, and that mowow in our language is how they say that, mowow, and that kind of means he or she is crying. Excuse me. And then finally we came upon a moose, and that relative, the moose, came and be a part of the family. And those first 5 clans were the start of our tribe. So that's the bear, the eagle, the wolf, the crane, and the moose clan. Those are the 5 like primary clans. There's a lot of sub clans, underneath those clans, and that's how we kind of started to govern ourselves and take care of ourselves. There's other stories too about those clans, having, I guess the story kind of talks about how they had a meeting together, and they knew these people were coming, and they wanted to speak for those ones that were going to be coming to help them in their lives. So actually, the Martin clan, my clan, I'm underneath the Moose clan, and each one of these clans were given excuse me, were given different responsibilities. So the Bear clan, the very first clan, were like the speakers and the keepers of the laws. The Eagle clan or Thunder clan were given the expertise in freedom and justice. The Moose clan was about community and individual security. The Crane clan was about architecture, construction, and art. And the Wolf clan was about hunting and gathering. So I think in total, there are 34 total clans of the Menominee people, but 5 primary clans, being these 5. They're at UW Stevens Point. If you go on their website, they have quite a bit about our clan system. So like I said before, the tribe has occupied about 10 million acres here in what they call Wisconsin. In our language, we call it Wiaskosin. And what that kind of roughly means is I would say that the way I would describe that word is like everything is good here. It means like there's lots of game, there's lots of food, there's just lots of really, really good things. That's the way I would understand that word. The thing about our language, is that they did a study back in like the 80s on the language, and it showed that the 80% of our language is made of verbs, and unlike English, which is 80% nouns. So that just gives you an idea of how we thought about things and how we seen things and how we lived our lives. The other part I would say to that is that you know, have a language that is about like connection and relationship. And I can see and understand that this language we're speaking right now is a real fear-based language. It doesn't have that like connection. And the way I could describe that is, in our language, there's no word for grandmother. You know, that grandmother, you know, she needs to belong to somebody. So she's either mine, yours, or theirs, or that kind of a thing. So in the Our Reservation, you can see it on the slide on the left. I think it's on the left. Here's is our original location. I mean, not original location. I mean, that's where we are now today. But you can see that we've controlled a lot of area as a tribe. We've signed 7 treaties, you know, with the United States of America. I think the earliest was 1832. 1836, I believe, we gave up the land that I think currently Wapaka is in now. Yeah, I believe it was. Oh no, 1848 is the treaty that we signed that gave our actually the Wapaka away. And then 1854, that tribe, or I mean that treaty created our current reservation. So we were granted 12 townships here on this. So it's not a complete square, but at one time it was a complete square. We gave 2 townships to the Stockbridge Munsee tribe, and actually we also own land in our original territory in Oneida. We gave them land. We gave them land as well. What their current reservation was our current, or was our homeland or our land. So these are just some of the things I wanted to show you where our current reservation is. That top left picture is a very special place here on our reservation with the waterfall. Not the black and white one, but the colored one. It is actually, in our language, they call it Kakapakut. And that's actually the Kashina Falls here on our reservation. It's kind of like right in the middle of our res. The Wolf River flows through our reservation, which is an important part of why our elders and our chiefs, you know, wanted this land. They wanted to, the United States government wanted to move us over to Red Wing in Minnesota, but our tribes took a stand. And when they went over there and visited, they seen that the Ojibwe and the Dakota Sioux were battling each other, and we'd have been right in the middle of it. And they didn't want to deal with it. So they actually, with the help of Father Bondwell, took a stand on. There's a hill here on our reservation called Chapel Hill, and said they weren't going to go. They said, if we go over there, we're gonna die. So if we're gonna die anyway, we're gonna die right here, and that's where we're gonna take a stand. So through negotiations, they signed that last treaty in 1854, right there at the Kashina Falls, which created the current reservation. The other important part about that place is that they say that just outside that outside that waterfalls, there's an underwater drum. And every spring, like this time right now that we're in, when the water gets really high, it beats on that drum, and it calls those sturgeon home from Lake Winnebago. There's 2 dams that have been put up that stops that migration, but that nevertheless that still, you know, is calling them every day. The other thing I wanted to just quickly mention was in that top right corner, as you see our reservation from a satellite. They call our reservation a forest island. You can see the definite boundaries of our reservation. A lot of people say that our reservation is what Wisconsin looked like prior to Europeans coming here. The NASA actually uses our county or our reservation to stabilize and put its satellites in the right place because it's so perfect of a boundary. The bottom right, the black and white picture is one of our beautiful dells on the Menominee River. It's called the Wolf River Dells. It's a beautiful story of a thunderbird and an underground serpent, underwater serpent that had a battle there. It's real beautiful. And then the bottom left is actually right downtown Kashina, where it says the land of the Menominee. That they call that Kashina's Landing. When we were forced on this res in 1854, it is in November. It was very cold. It was just the start of November and into October. And our people canoed up here. We lost quite a few people along the way. But this is the very first place. This is the first place that our people landed. They call it Kashina's Landing. Chief Kashina landed there. So this is just some of kind of where we're at today. I wanted to give you a little bit closer idea of our reservation. Some of the principal cities are, well, towns or villages or however you want to say them. So Kashina is down towards the bottom of the county, the reservation. Middle Village is another area where we live. Neopet and Zor. And Zor is traditionally where I guess the word they use is pagans. That's where the pagans lived, I guess, but it was real traditional Menominees. And there's another one on here that isn't on here, but it's up 55 and off of M a bit, and it's called South Branch. It's another community of ours that actual community came from up by the mouth of the Menominee River when our treaty was established. So I do just have some pictures of those areas. The top one on the left, the black and white picture with the people dancing, that's our Big Drum Society that was up in Zor many years ago. It's still active today, still practicing those ways. Middle Village is kind of in between Neopet and Zor. In our languages, they call it Nanawiya. Yeah, it means like halfway in between. Neopet actually holds our mill. Our when we were in like 1908, we created a lumber mill here on the reservation and started cutting our own timber. And then the other picture is just down. Well, you would say it's downtown Kashina, but there's that's kind of a little bit of an older picture nowadays. But so here's are some of the things that are on our reservation. We have our own tribal police department. We have our own high schools. We have our own middle school. We have our own elementary school. I don't know if I put it on here, but we do. It's called Kashina Primary. We have our own clinic, which is the picture up the top right. We have the College of the Menominee Nation located here on the reservation. The bottom right picture is our tribal government building that actually used to be our hospital here long time ago. That picture with the people sitting and standing was our legislator. That's kind of changed around now. Some of those people have moved on and some new ones are there. And the bottom left picture with the American flag is actually the Menominee County offices where the county buildings are, government is. So that kind of just brings me to people wonder why, well, what county government? Why is there a county government? So with our lumber mill, when we first established that in 1908, we were upset the way in which that it was being managed. We felt like there was a lot of things that were being done wrong, and that we wanted to do it the way that we were taught. So the tribe actually sued the government for mismanagement of the forest and actually won a large settlement, millions of dollars in like 1910, 1915, around there. And when we got that money, we obviously invested into ourselves and had schools built and we had our own hospitals and police and all those things. But in 1954, that was the era and the time of acculturating us. They started this termination policy, and they singled us out because we were doing so well, because of not only of the the lawsuit, but just other things that we were doing. So in 1954, our tribe was terminated. We were the first tribe in the country to be terminated. The second was the Klamath tribe. The irony about it is it was 100 years exactly after our reservation was established. It went into effect in 1961, and it sent our tribe into just poverty immediately. What our people didn't understand is then they had to pay taxes and they had to do all these things, and it was a very tumultuous time. I don't know if some of you folks are old enough to remember that time here, but it was very topsy-turvy. Some of the players here on the pictures, that actually top left, isn't from our tribe, but I put it in there because that's a lot. As you see, the chief is signing his land away. He's crying. That's a lot of us, how we felt. We didn't really get a choice to terminate or not. What they did is they came here and got a vote that Senator Watkins, who's got the book, he was actually from, I believe, Utah. Anyway, they held a meeting here on the reservation, and at that time, our language was still very spoken, and there wasn't a lot of people that spoke English. And so when they took that vote, not everybody knew what they were voting for. They thought actually that they were voting for getting those payments from the tribe from the lawsuit rather than terminating their tribe. But nonetheless, the tribe was terminated. And like I said, the time was such a crazy time, and there was a group of warriors here that were called the Menominee warriors that actually took over the Gresham Novitiate. I'm sure there's been lots of books and lots of history written on that. In 1959, the Governor Gaylord Nelson, signed, after we were terminated, signed a law to make our reservation the 72nd county on the reservation, in Wisconsin. In 1969, they because of our people didn't understand that we had to pay taxes and that now no longer we were in control of our own land. The DNR and other folks that were in leadership at the time decided to bulldoze 6 lakes together and create one lake and call it Legend Lake, and then sell land around the lakes to make up money for lost taxes and all those things that we weren't able to do. And when that started to happen, there was a group that started, and that group that started in opposition to that was called DRUMS, and it's the Determination of Rights and Unity for Menominee Shareholders. So this group of people were very, very instrumental in fighting back against what was being done to us. There was a lot of upheaval, like I said, at that time, but they got organized and they start doing meetings and newsletters and keeping people, in the loop. So that kind of effort led to 1973, after a hard-fought grassroots effort, the federal government recognized the Menominee Restoration Act and restored us as a tribe. I just put up a couple relatives of mine, Ada Deer, who really is instrumental in drums, and very instrumental in getting the law passed through Congress, which is a phenomenal feat. If anybody does any kind of political work, you understand how hard that actually is. And I put up our Great Seal of our Menominee Nation, and then the reservation was restored, but we are also a county, which is weird. And so what the decision was at the time was that the non-natives that bought land around the lakes, they created this county so they didn't have to sell their land back to the tribe. So currently today, the Menominee County is probably about 1,200 acres, when our reservation is in total about 234,000 acres. 1,200 of that is the county. I also just wanted to mention too that President Nixon is the stories of him, and how crazy things might have been. He really pushed for us to be restored. And some of those people, those are some of the drums leaders that are up in that top right picture that were there when our tribe was restored. So it kind of just leads me to this. This is another really great big effort here in our community. It started back in 2015. There is a company called Aquila Resources, who wanted to establish a gold mine, a sulfide mine on the Menominee River, which this project, the boundaries of it, within their boundaries of their project, has 3 burial mounds of ours. I think there's 24 cultural sites in total, but there's prehistoric garden beds that are still visible along the river. The project is 150 feet. That's half a football field, away from the river. It's a massive hole. It's a quarter-mile wide and like 750 feet deep, which is about 2 Statue of Liberty standing on top of itself. So it's a massive hole in the earth, and it's right next to the river. And we definitely feel not only are they desecrating our ancestors and our place of origin, our Garden of Eden, if you might say, but they're also going to pollute the water and destroy the fish, that live there. Sulfide mining is the dirtiest mining of any other mines. This is some of the opposition to that. Some of the things that have came about from our tribe, and also working with other non-natives, together. I don't know if some of you guys remember the Exxon mine they were trying to put on here on the Wolf River. It was the same sort of setup. A lot of non-natives and natives stood together in opposition to that. I'm so proud of that time, and I'm so proud of those people that really led that, because not only did it show unity and just show that we could work together for a common cause, but they came out of that not only winning, but also being able to establish what was called the Prove It First law, which basically said that, and they got tremendous support from down there at that government in Madison. And basically what the law said was that if you're going to open a mine here in Wisconsin, you have to prove to us first that you operated it somewhere else. You operated another mine for 10 years somewhere else, and you didn't pollute and harm your environment wherever it was. As you and I both know, there's no way a mine could do that, could demonstrate that. So basically, they called it a mining moratorium, that law just got rescinded like 2 years ago by I hate to say his name, but Tom Tiffany. He got that thing rescinded, I bet you, in like 4 months. And I don't get me started on that. It irritates me. But now we got all kinds of projects coming up here that we're all got to be careful of and thinking of. So the one of the bigger things is that the main picture where it says sacred water. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that we basically did a sacred water walk from our reservation up to the mining site, and it was 126 miles, and we were able to do that in 3 days. And that picture right below it is us on that walk. I'm in there, trust me, somewhere. I walked the whole way. And then, I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about this too, is I'm going to kind of wrap up and leave some time for questions as well. But I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about our organization that really, stood in opposition to the Back 40 mine and helped to lead that fight. And we're still continuing to do that. We have an 80-acre farm here on our reservation. Our name is Menominee Nation, which basically means that they are building a healthy community. That's basically what that name means. We do a bunch of different initiatives. One of the things that we do is food sovereignty. So with this 80-acre farm, we grow delicious, amazing food. We also are in plans by the fall of this year to have bison returned back to our community. Bison played a big role in not only our ceremonies, just in our way of life as well. A long time ago, bison were this far up as well. They're not just plains bison, but they were woodland bison. We also do a lot of cultural activities. Our language, of course, is super important. Some of those pictures show us ricing. Some of that pictures show us boiling sap, which we're doing right now, which I got to go do as soon as I'm done with this. The trees were just given a whole lot of sap this weekend, which was awesome because we weren't getting much up until this weekend. In the formation of our organization, Menominee Nation, too, I just wanted to say that we, as Menominees and as people, we used to be called the Dreamers, and we had people in our community that you could go to. You would, if you had a problem or a question, or something was you wanted to know something, you would offer them tobacco. In our language, they call it netnamo, and then they would take that and they would tell you, well, come back in a couple of days or come back tomorrow, or whatever, and then they would dream, and it would, whatever answer or thing would come to them. Along our vast history, since the non-natives have gotten here, and especially when we were forced onto our reservation, those dreamers, almost I would say quit dreaming, or at least quit talking about it. So when we formed our organization back in 2000, and I think it's 15 now, we called all the dreamers to come. And we wanted to just get together, and that's actually that picture on the left side. I don't know if you can see it, standing outside the house. That was the beginning. We all stand in a circle, and we were talking about dreaming. Let's just dream. What can this place be? What could it look like? What should it look like? All these things. Don't worry about money. Don't worry about who's going to do the work, but just dream. So we came up with an amazing dreaming board, and that's a lot of the things on that list are still fueling our work today. The food sovereignty was a big part of that. Energy sovereignty, that's our solar panels there that power our whole farm. We've been involved with other organizations to do amazing work with them. We helped to organize the very first Native American Presidential Forum back in 19 or 20 or whatever it was. We also do on our reservation, was one of the main things we did. We haven't done them now since COVID, but we did prehistoric our pre-contact feasts, where we would have everybody bring foods of our history and not processed or any kind of sugar or salt kind of food. And man, there was some amazing foods. We've eaten some amazing delicacies. You know, the thing about our tribe is that we're deeply connected to our food, or at least we used to. You know, all of our food, we ate 300 and some different varieties of different foods. Now we're down to like 4. And one of the things is that, you know, all of our foods had, you know, connection. The deer, the plants, they all have stories. We all know the relationships we've had with them. So it's been an awesome thing. And one of the other things too is, off that dreaming list, there's always and still is a huge housing need. So we started to build tiny homes here on our reservation, or on our land here, and trying to help our community out. So you can see some of that going on too. So this is just a kind of a showing you a little bit of the importance of you know, why we came together as a group of people. These are definitely things that we talk about, and you know, we recognized pretty early on in our community that, you know, when you look at the signage in our community, a lot of it was don't do this, don't do that. We recognize that, you know, our solutions aren't going to come out of a don't. They're going to come out of a positivity and love. So, you know, we wanted to remind our people, you know, that we as a people have been through nothing short of genocide as a people. And yet we're still here. Yet we're still using our language. Yet we're still practicing, you know, our traditional ways that were passed down to us. And when you think about that, it's like, how could this community go through something like that and come out the other side and still have a bit of self respect and dignity about themselves? To me, it's that we recognize that strength as a people. And I would challenge any other community to go through what we did and see how you fare, see what you go through, what happens to you. But that we recognize that beautiful strength of our people and the resilience, and let's organize and let's build on that resilience. Let's stand on the shoulders of those ancestors and honor them and do everything we possibly can to maintain our path. And you know, sometimes our people get a bit confused and think that all we have to do is look in the past and go back to the past. But you know, we don't think like that. You know, we think that, you know, we're gonna understand the past and bring some of that forward and contemporize that. You know, and a lot of those things that we've done, a lot of those things that we've built is through stories and through just our understanding of who we are. And some of these pictures definitely demonstrate that. You know, we wanted to, that one picture in the middle there is we definitely wanted our families to hold hands and be strong again and dream and envision. And the other thing about that beautiful picture there where they're looking at the stars, in our language they call that Milky Way, they call that the Chepe Mihikan, which means the ghost trail. And there's a beautiful story about how that came to be for our people. And I just wanted to demonstrate that, you know, that we can see these things that are our ancestors' things, but we can contemporize it to help our own lives. I don't know if I think I have one more. Nope, that's it. So that was the start of our group. That was, some of those faces have come and lost. We've also gained others. So this thing has always been moving and you know, we've been doing a lot here on the reservation and abroad. So that's I'm going to stop sharing here, and then we could do a Q&A, or you, if you got anything else.
No, I don't really have anything else other than the huge thanks and appreciation for what you shared with us, in terms of it. There's no better way to understand people than to hear their stories. And of course, telling their own story is the most important thing to do too. You can read books, you can look at videos, you can do things too, but to actually, hear the stories from the mouth of someone is so important. Yeah, questions and answers. I will just be quiet because I have a million, but that's other people. Because Guy, you and I can talk later if we want. So go ahead. Go ahead, Anita. You're muted, Anita. There we
We
go.
had a poetry contest here in Wapaka because we were putting poems into the sidewalks. And I wanted to write a poem about the Native people who had been here before us because I understand that our river was named by Native people. And so when I went on the website for the city and Wikipedia, they both had it listed as Potawatomi people living here rather than the full tribe of Menominee. And luckily, before that, my poem got put into the sidewalk, somebody straightened it up for me. So there's a poem now in the Wapaka sidewalk that recognizes that the Menominee were here first, and they named our city and they named our river. So there's so much misinformation out there. You think you're going to the right sites, but what happened after that is our city did change their site, and the Historical Society went ahead and talked to Wikipedia, and that site has been changed. So, we can make a difference. Little things can make a difference to write history.
Yep.
Thank you.
Nancy, I think you had a question.
Yes, I was going to ask more about Menikanicum and the farm, and you have young people working and living there.
Well,
This story, how has that grown over the years?
yeah. So coronavirus has been tough on everybody. Definitely tough on nonprofits. We were lucky enough to have a lot of really good partners, and we were already about 3 or 4 years in by the time coronavirus came around. But it's hard to be in community when you can't be in community. One of our elders, had told us that we should use this pandemic, or we should use this time as a way to work on ourselves and to come out of this pandemic better than when we went in. And that was the direction we got. So that's something that we did as an organization, and we really tightened the ship up in certain areas where we were maybe lackadaisical and got real specific to what we're focused on, and coming out of the pandemic, or if we're coming out, or whatever it is where we are right now, we have a youth group. We always have had a youth group, but this time we kind of changed our way of dealing with them a bit. The different schools here on the reservation had identified some young men that were not doing so well in school and had a really tough go. The schools weren't reaching them and things, and so we got all 16 of these students together, and one of the things that we wanted to do was teach them how to obviously be men, but also how to live, and we engaged them through fly fishing. And our youth director is a really respected fly fisherman here in our community, and I would say fly fishing is probably it's not the main thing. It's sure it brought them in, but we pick up the rivers. We teach them water management. We teach them how to walk in the water. How we relate that to life, getting over obstacles and things. We've always wanted to give them the best start we could. So we were able to get them really high quality rods, and we didn't want just cheap stuff for them. We wanted the best for them because we wanted them to have that beautiful self-respect that they deserve these things. And, you know, we circled up all the time with them, and we, you know, had their parents come with us, and we still do all this stuff with them. So the thing that we would do is that, like, they couldn't come fishing with us, or couldn't come on the things that we're doing if their, you know, chores weren't done at home, or if they now that they're in school, if their, you know, school grades aren't doing well. You know, we check in with their parents all the time. You know, and just help out the parents too if they need help in any way we can. You know, these young boys, it started with 16, we're down to 12 right now. Some of them have moved away, and others just, you know, didn't feel like it was right for them. We make sure they put in the effort. You know, if they're not putting in effort, then we're not either, you know, but not anybody's a throwaway or nothing like that. So last summer we took them on an adventure out to Montana and Yellowstone for fly fishing. If anybody fly fishes or knows anything about that, you know, that's like the epicenter of fly fishing. So, but on our way, we stopped at these sacred places, and we talked with the folks that, you know, take care of those places, and we prayed together. We had ceremony together. We had food together, and we traveled to like 7 different spots along the way as we made our way out there. And you know, it was amazing to see these young boys really, really grow, because, you know, we made it a point to, we're not going to spend time, you know, knocking each other down or putting ourselves down. You know, we're not going to, you know, argue with one another. We're going to be positive. We're going to build each other up. We're going to work out every morning, whether that be we take a walk or a hike, or we're going to, you know, eat really good food. We're not going to eat no fast food. The boys upon themselves, you know, agreeing on themselves to, one day they just wanted to eat fruit all day. And so we did, you know, and we had to stop many times, obviously, to, you know, to kind of reset and reboot. And we took the time and the patience with them. And, you know, it's been an amazing journey with them. We've done so much. It's just been amazing. Actually, we just got in partnership with Patagonia, and they just outfitted all of our kids with, they donated $18,000 worth of equipment of fly fishing gear for them. They're going to shoot a movie on us in Yellowstone this year with our boys, and you know, these young men are really, some of them are from 8th grade to, our oldest one is now a senior and will graduate this year. And we're not looking to be like, okay, now you're a senior, goodbye. We want to stick with them through college. We want to stick with them, you know, until they're able to do it themselves and give back. So we've been really, really involved. And sometimes that sort of dedication, it you know, it's not a 9-to-5 job. You know, sometimes we're getting them at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we don't come back till 1 or 2 at night, you know, from fishing or whatever, you know. And we've been cleaning up our reservation. We have a couple of events coming up here soon that we're going to be cleaning old people, some of the elders' homes and lands, and our forest. And as you know, fishing is coming up, so everybody's excited about that. We've got a big trip out west where we're going to take them back to Yellowstone, back to those communities to thank them for their prayers and their good thoughts. And then we wanted to take them to the redwood trees, and we wanted to take them to the ocean. And then we're gonna come back. We're going to take a few of them up to Alaska here in June as well, in the early parts of June, right after school. So that's more of they're going to present in front of National Congress of American Indians on some of the other initiatives we're working on with environmental justice. So it's been going really well. We got a really awesome team, and you know, the farm itself has been growing. You know, we've kind of like scaled back, doing things more than like planning things. We were all doers and wanted to just do without no kind of plans. And, you know, obviously you can't have that. You need to have a really good vision. So we've kind of scaled back a bit, but you know, the future is looking really bright, and I'm excited about getting buffalo back here. You know, we're doing a lot of stuff with rights of nature as well.
So Guy, I have a couple of things. One is that fly fishing thing is an amazing thing, and I have a brother who lives. His wife used to be the head of the Yellowstone Park Foundation and has a lot of connections with the Yellowstone Park. So if you need any things, they live in Bozeman and they have a wonderful house near Yellowstone Park. So if you need any more connections, I can give you that. So it sounds like
Definitely.
a wonderful thing to do with youth. So also, do you have visitors come up and fly fish? Because I have a son that fly fishes.
Well, on our current reservation, non-tribal members can fish, but we haven't had any visitors come actually here. But we've fished with a lot, like where some of the head guys in Patagonia wanted to fish with us in Yellowstone. They're actually bringing a First Nations tour guide who's like 25 from British Columbia. He's going to come down and fish with us in Yellowstone and talk to the boys about guiding and all the things.
Okay.
I'm pretty excited about. But yes, we would love to meet the person and just let them know like how much we're appreciative too of the work that they do and what Yellowstone stands for and what it is. It's pretty incredible, and to be in that park, as any of you that been there.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite places. I'll have I'll contact my brother and see what he can come up with. So any other questions? Because we only have like 3 minutes left of our hour. So
I do.
Go ahead, Nancy.
I thank you, first of all, for presenting to us. It's been so helpful. I'm wondering, do you do any joint activities with the Stockbridge-Muncie folks, since you guys are connected?
So like prior to the pandemic, there were plans of youth gathering and lots of those things. Prior to that, we obviously always did some things with them, but we never did a lot. We're planning this year. I got a couple relatives of mine that are tribal legislatures over there in Stockbridge, and they are seeing what we're doing and definitely want to get involved. And right now, we're at like the limit of what we can do with boys. Any more youth and it wouldn't be as effective as what we're doing. So we're trying to gear up for some more staff, and we definitely want to reach out to our neighboring brothers and sisters, Potawatomi and Mole Lake and Oneida and Stockbridge, and see if we can get something, a fire going here and everybody, and we're excited about that.
I have one last thing too, is that there is and Grant, I'll turn back to you because this question connects it to you, because Grant is a representative of our church, in our synod here in Wisconsin to do it too. And there's a thing that the Doctrine of Discovery and our church repudiated that, and there's a land recognition thing that the churches can do. Grant, can you tell us more about that?
As far as the land recognition, that's something that is being done all over the place, and it's something that we're doing in the church as well. It's something that the folks over at Church of the Wilderness are leading the way on, and then once they've kind of established a statement, then we're going to be sharing that around the synod, and we'll be having that discussion and moving forward with that. One thing that I definitely wanted to ask before our time is up, you mentioned about the mine and wrestling with the mine, and that might be heating back up again. What are ways that we can be supportive of the work that you're doing? Ways that we can come alongside and support your sovereignty and support your way of being.
Yeah. So the company that was proposing the project, Aquila Resources, they actually ran out of money, and they were sold to another organization, which is kind of like a quasi kind of group of the same people, but there's other difference. And that one is called Gold Resources. The acronym is GORO. Through our work, we were able to, basically get all 4 of the permits that they needed rescinded. And so right now there's nothing, nobody submitted another application and nobody is doing anything. But Goro has been saying that they're going to submit an application at the end of this year. But we'll see, because, like, we have a freaking heck of an offense right now. You can pay attention to not only the tribe's website, they have a Back 40 website on Menominee Tribe of Wisconsin, but you could, look at our Facebook and our website, Minneconaugham, MenomineeRebuilders.org is our website, and Minneconaugham is our Facebook, to pay attention to kind of like what's going on, what we're doing. A lot of it is Zoom testifying, right now. There's not a lot of on-the-ground stuff because not only the pandemic, but, most of the meetings are virtual. But I know there is being planned in July a water celebration up there with an organization called Save the Menominee River Coalition, a group that we helped to create, and they're going to put on a celebration up there on the river. But usually we do something every year, or have lots of things going on. So those are some of the ways in which you could help, and obviously
Okay, well,
that's always an issue.
Thank you very much. Pastor, are we out of time?
I mean, Zoom won't kick us out, but we are at 12:01. So
Okay. So that we usually try to wait a little. So Guy, again, many thanks to you, and blessings to you as you do your work. And I'm sure we're going to be talking in the future. I'm going to be taking a trip up, weather permitting, up to the Stockbridge Muncie on Wednesday. So
Yeah, give me a call.
I'll give you a call. Okay, Pastor, do you want to close us off then with a prayer,
Sure.
please?
And yeah, to echo what Hugh said, thank you very much, Guy. This is, I'm embarrassed at how little I know, having grown up in Wisconsin, so I'm appreciative of learning more. And a reminder to our participants, we'll be taking the next 2 weeks off for Palm Sunday and Easter. So you can come to the donkey parade at 9:30 next week. And yeah, Easter will also take off, so we'll be back on April 24th in a couple of weeks. All right, let us pray. Good and gracious God, we thank you for Guy and his willingness to share the story of the Menominee people. We thank you for all of the new opportunities you've given us to learn and expand our minds and our ways of thinking. We ask that your spirit of wisdom and be with us today and in the days to come as we continue to chew on all of this new knowledge and information. We love you, and we pray all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
And Guy, don't forget to send your address to Trinity Lutheran Church or to me.
Okay. Will
Okay.
do.
Meeting is ended.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you all.
Bye-bye.